Esperanza243. You are here to watch and or listen to me read a book out loud. It is a personal book, actually, called Aquatica. This is part
15. Seriously? We're on 15? Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. So, I can't believe we're on part 15. We're just about done with the book. I'm just going to go ahead and get to it, because there's going to be a separate video of me vlogging, basically giving you all an update. But I'm not going to talk about that now. I'm going to go ahead and talk about what happened in part 14. And then I'm going to go ahead and start reading. But if you're watching this in like a playlist marathon kind of thing, now that I figured out how to do the ads, those little yellow spots at the bottom of the video will tell you where I start. Because that's where I'm doing the ads now. I'm doing the ads, the moment before I read and the moment after I read. Which I think is a pretty cool idea. The book I'm going to read next is Musketeer Power. Now, I'm really looking forward to that. I've always wanted to read another of my books on this channel. I've just never been able to figure out which ones. Because there are certain books that I would rather be published before doing the book readings. And there are others where I'm like, okay, I want to get this out now before I publish it so that you guys are familiar with the world and can figure it out on your own. Not just of me actually telling you guys. So, I'm actually looking forward to reading Musketeer Power to you all. But let's just go ahead and get to Aquatica. What happened in part 14 was basically, Garnet learning everything, basically at the climax part of the book. And in my humble opinion, the climax has already happened. But this is kind of I guess it's her learning about her family and all that is kind of part of that climax. Because she bumped into those mermaids, she got evidence, and then she, made her mom and her aunt, not aunts, her mom and her, what was it, fifth cousin twice removed? I've already forgotten. I think that's what it was. But she got her family to go to the king, her uncle, I don't know what relation that is, I forgot. But but she learns that Amethyst is part of her royal family, of course. And she discusses, the evidence and all that she's learned with King Adelais, which is pretty impressive because he's this all powerful and really smart dude, and I mean king, sorry, not dude. He learns all that happens and then kind of gives his 2 bits to figure out what to do next. And of course, he helps Garnet get all that stuff prepared so that they can capture the mermen that are plotting. I guess because of that, he becomes frantic, the king does, but he doesn't really show it. I guess I should have put some form of writing that he does become frantic about, making sure these men don't come in contact with anyone in the Aquatica and all that, but I didn't want to drag everything at its peak, I didn't want to drag everything in such a long explanation of what's going on and his emotions and all that. I didn't want to deal with all that, especially when I was already dragging of her getting to the point of defeating these mermen. So, and then while he is plotting the traps at the end of the tunnel, Garnet talks to her mom about the note that she left for Kaylee, her aunt Kaylee. Crazy redonkulous, and she learns the truth, and she comforts her mom, because her mom becomes sad, and it's I wish I had done something to make sure this didn't happen and all that, and blah, blah, blah. And Garnet's no, it doesn't matter. You're my mom. I love you. I would have come with you anyways. That kind of thing, Love, family is unconditional. You can't really stop it. That's what I love. And we actually stopped. Oh, that's right. Because because she gave the stuffed toy to her Aunt Kaylee, and she takes that to the land police, convinces them, and takes them to the park where she and Garnet believe where the mermen are keeping their, illegal stuff. And so that part of the trap is set. And she and the officers overhear the men talking about the mermaid, Garnet, the mermaid, and the king. Kaylee understands what they're talking about, sort of. But the policemen, the police officers, they're not listening. They're too concentrated on capturing these men because of the illegal stuff that they're doing. It's just weird, And I know I'm talking a bit too much because of part 14. It's a pretty descriptive part. I just wanted to make sure you guys got that in case it's been a while since you've seen listened to part 14. Sorry. But now that that's kind of done, we pretty much ended part 14 with Kaylee saying you probably are trapped on both sides, probably, and we will defeat you, and blah 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 blah. I'm just kidding. No one dies. But that's where we're going to start. I cannot wait to do the vlog because you guys are going to be. Freeze! One of the officers shouted. The boss widened his eyes. Kaylee stayed hidden. Put the boxes down! Put your hands behind your head and stay there! Their partner obeyed, and so did the other two men. The boss still felt shocked at the event occurring. He dropped the boxes the next second and ran inside the cave. Two of you, go after him. We'll take care of this, the officer in charge called. Two police officers ran off inside the cave. One of them caught something in the corner of his eyes and followed what he saw. I'm already stuttering here. One of them caught something in the corner of his eye and followed what he saw. The other officer followed him. When they entered the room with the wall decoration, no one was in there. I thought I saw part of that decoration move, the first officer said. The second officer nodded, moving toward it, and flipped the wall decoration to the side. They found the hole. This might lead out into the ocean. Go get the pumps. I'll meet you down there. It took a few minutes before the first officer came back. After they entered the hole and went down the rock chute, the officers were surprised to find a dark tunnel. They took out their glow sticks and broke them enough to create light. This was after they turned on the air pumps and put their lips over the mouthpieces. They swam toward the underwater cave's opening. It took them a while to get there. By then, there was still some air left from the pumps. They swam out of the cave and hurried to the surface. The two officers burst out and took their lips off the pieces to get natural oxygen. They were in for a surprise. After catching their breaths, they saw merpeople below them. One of the officers tapped his partner's shoulder. He looked at him as his partner made a signal. He nodded. They took a deep breath and dived down to observe merpeople more clearly. They couldn't believe it when they saw a merman wearing a crown. Garnet swam beside King Adelaide, as was Ezra. He was in the tunnel when he spotted the merman coming down. The merman in front of King Adelaide hung his head low. He and the king were both disappointed. Garnet spotted the cops. She tapped on the king's shoulder, pointed them out, and whispered to him. He nodded and pointed his trident toward them. Blue light beamed from the trident, landing on the two officers. They had become mermen for the time being. That definitely shocked them. King Adelaide looked at them and gestured them to come. The officers swam to him. "Welcome, gentlemen," the king said. "I understand you and I are after the same merman." They nodded. The officers stayed quiet, speechless. What was going on was not covered in protocol, so they said nothing. "Uncle," Garnet interrupted. He turned to her. "Perhaps he should be on land. It will be a good opportunity for him to spend time thinking." She paused for a moment. "Maybe he'll be able to have a second chance." He gave her that look, as if to say, "Excuse me?" "I mean, a second chance at living. A point in life is to learn from mistakes. Why can't he?" King Adelaide thought about it. "You have a point, Garnet. I think I'll let him do that." He raised his trident and pointed it at the merman. "Young man, not only are you and your crew banned from Aquatica forever, you will never come back to the ocean as mermen." Yellow light beamed from the trident and landed on the merman. "Live life to its fullest." The merman nodded. The yellow light disappeared and he suddenly turned human. Garnet looked away with shock. The man was bare naked. The king then looked at the merman officers. "Once you touch land outside the waters, you will become human again, with clothes you had on your back before. This man will need clothes before you leave the shore." They nodded and grabbed the man's arms. "Of course you must keep this secret. We are but discreet and private merfolk." The officers nodded once more. The three swam off to Virginia Beach. The new human had a hard time swimming to the surface. He knew he couldn't swim without a tail. Garnet sighed in relief. Aquatica was safe, and so was the ocean. Ezra placed a hand on her shoulder. She looked at him and smiled. "You were brave, Garnet." She blushed. "It was nothing. I did what I had to do. I didn't want the ocean, especially Aquatica, to suffer from all that. Imagine if I wasn't here." He widened his eyes in fear. "I don't even want to imagine that," he whispered. He gave her a soft look. "Imagining you not here would make me feel rather lonely." She opened her mouth and closed it as her cheeks blushed. "Thanks, Ezra," she whispered. Before he could turn, Garnet put her hand on his shoulder and gave him a hug. "I wouldn't have been able to handle all this without you." Ezra smiled and hugged back. King Adelaide felt rather awkward in that situation. She and Ezra gasped with realization he was still there and pulled apart. They looked at the king while he chuckled. "I think I'm going to the beach to relax for a while. I had a busy night," she told her uncle and her friend. They nodded as Ezra swam next to the king. "Be careful, Garnet. I don't want you to be seen." She nodded. He swam off to Aquatica. She saw that her friend didn't leave and gave him an interesting expression. He grinned. "Make sure you don't find another mystery," he teased. She opened her mouth in shock. He could tell she was trying not to grin. He swam to her and gave her a kiss on the cheek. He then turned and swam back to Aquatica. Aww. Wait, isn't he super old? Oh well. She sighed with a light heart, her stomach churning like butterflies were inside. She turned and swam to the beach in a daze. When she surfaced, she gasped. 2 officers were just leaving the beach with a naked man. She shook her head, shaking the thoughts of what she almost saw. Yikes. Garnett giggled. Wow, it's going to take some time getting used to my uncle like this, she whispered. She looked at the rocky part of the beach and gasped with surprise and horror. Someone had already spotted her suitcase. Hey, what are you doing? The woman looked up, her eyes wide, as her fiancé climbed up from behind. What you got there, sweetie? He saw the suitcase. Wow, nice bag. Garnett thought about what to do and sighed. It seemed she had no choice. Well, at least that's what she thought. She ended up swimming to the rocky parts without using her tail. She knew that if they saw her flipper, they would freak out immediately. Excuse me, but that's mine. She was right at the edge of where the water started to look clear. After that point, the water was so clear, the couple would have recognized in an instant that she was not human. The woman took her hand away from the zipper. I'm sorry, I didn't know. It was just lying here. I assumed someone left it there. That was my aunt. She left it there for me, so I can dry myself whenever I need it. She rolled her eyes and smiled. Sorry, I forgot my manners. My name is Garnett. What's yours? I'm Kelly. This is my boyfriend, Jesse. He smiled and held out his hand. Garnett shook her head. I'm sorry, I can't shake your hand right now. I'm all wet. Garnett worried whether to trust them. She didn't want to show the pectoral fins. It's all right, he replied, taking the hand back. Besides, we need to get back to our house. There's wedding arrangements to plan. Garnett narrowed her brows in confusion. Jesse gasped and pushed his fiancée in a teasing manner. Kelly, you did it again. Your habit of introducing me as a boyfriend has got to stop. Kelly giggled. I'm sorry, I forgot, she said, looking at him. She looked back at Garnett. I'm so used to looking at our plans that I forget to tell people we're getting married next year. Congratulations! Maybe I can come by your place sometime and visit? She raised a brow in question. Why not? He said, looking at his fiancée. We have plenty of space. We do, she replied, glancing at him. But what if she has too much stuff? Garnett smiled. I don't have much. All I have is in this suitcase. I don't have much. All my stuff is in the suitcase. Kelly gasped. Dear me, really? She had a suspicious look. Why is that? Garnett sighed and looked around. Her uncle was nowhere in sight. Do you think you can keep a secret between us? They nodded. You can't tell anyone. You can't tell anyone, especially your family. The engaged couple hesitated. They eyed each other and then looked at her. They sighed. We promise, the couple echoed. I actually live in the ocean. My aunt bought me an airtight suitcase because there's a cave under here that leads to the park. Their eyes were wide. The times I will surface, I'll probably need a place somewhere to stay. Hopefully somewhere near a pool. You mean... Kelly began to say. Garnett swam closer. They saw her tail and widened their eyes even more. I won't be able to visit much, probably a couple times a month, but right then a crab came out of the ocean. It crawled toward her, out of breath. What are you doing? She gasped, recognizing the crab's voice. She looked at him. The couple narrowed their brows and made an expression. They wondered about her reaction. All they saw was the crab staring at the mermaid, clacking his whoppers. Your uncle told you not to be seen.
Oh, Quentin, calm down. They won't tell. They promised not to tell anyone. Besides, who would believe them?
He was about to respond, but he looked at her funny. How did you know my name?
Please don't tell my Uncle Quentin. I don't want to have the same fate as Corinna.
He gasped. You are her descendant. She nodded, she hesitated in response. That's not possible. My grandfather told me she didn't survive that storm.
Garnet sighed. He's Quentin Jr. Oh, gosh, this isn't happening,
she thought. She gave him the same soft look Corinna made that night. She knew she did. He gave her a firm expression. Then his eyes rolled. Here we go again. Grandfather, I have disappointed you, he cried out, waving his whoppers as he went back in the ocean. She giggled and shook her head.
Oh my, she can talk to crabs,
Kelly whispered. Garnet looked at her and gave her a soft smile.
A mermaid. I finally get to see a mermaid.
Garnet smiled.
Not only that, you've become friends with one.
Kelly's fiancé was speechless the entire time. He didn't know what to do or say. He shook his head before saying anything. Would you like to join us for breakfast? His fiancé nudged him and gave him a look. He widened his eyes. That is, if you can get out.
I can. Hold on one moment.
She went back to her underwater cave and grabbed the shell she had left behind. She lifted it to her ear.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello?
She had to wait a long time. Whatever shell her connection chose, it continued vibrating. Someone picked it up.
Hello?
A random mermaid greeted.
Hi. Is there anyone nearby named Amber Winsome or Amber Tarleton?
Hold on, the mermaid replied. It took a while for her to come back.
Sorry, no one around here with those names.
Garnet thought for a quick second.
Well, if you happen to find her, would you mind telling her that Garnet went up to the surface for a while?
The mermaid gasped.
The surface? But Oh.
She paused.
All right, I'll tell her. Be careful and don't get seen.
She smiled.
I won't.
She then put down the shell and swam back to the rocky parts. The engaged couple was still there.
I'm coming. I just need to get some things out of the suitcase.
Take your time, we have all morning. Kelly and her fiancé couldn't help but watch her with fascination. Garnet rolled her eyes as she unzipped her suitcase and pulled out an outfit and a towel.
Unfortunately, I don't. Uncle could come up at any moment. Who knows what he'll do?
She thought to herself. She dried the upper part of her body and put her t-shirt on. She then dried her tail on both sides carefully. Her tail shined as bright as the moon in the hot, glimmering sun. She gasped and grabbed her pants. Once she could see her legs, she pulled the pants up as quick as lightning. Then she put on socks and shoes, and then put the towel in a low, sunny spot where no one would see it. She even put her suitcase in a corner where no one could see it in any angle from the beach. You are a smart person, Garnet. She smiled.
Thanks.
She stood and looked at the couple.
Shall we go for a walk?
They nodded. The three of them walked together, talking about all sorts of things. The end. Ah, incredible. Alright, so I do believe that is it for Aquatica. Oh my gosh, and this is just the first book of the trilogy. I am so looking forward to reading the next book of it, which is The Rap Prophecy. I'm so looking forward to that. But just to give you guys a little bit of clarity, a little bit of peacetime between the books, I'm going to read a different one. And as I said at the beginning of the video, it is called Musketeer Power. Now, I will be reading the description of it along with the actual book part itself in the next video. But not only that, I am going to be uploading a vlog as well. It's probably already up, but I just wanted to let you guys know about that as well. So, I hope to see you all in the next video with an awesome background, which is what the vlog is about. Oh my gosh, so excited. I hope you all have a great morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. I am the Esperanza 243, signing out. Dang, this shadow. Okay, well. I guess a little bit of shadow is fine, I guess. On the upside, this is before it gets dark. Alright, anyways. Of course. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm... Ah! Okay, so...